Alright boys, new weekend in the shop. This is the weekend before the blow-in. So, I think what I'm going to try and accomplish here today is I'm going to put the battery tray in, or on, however you want to look at it, or a battery tray, just for the coil and wire everything up so it has spark. I'm just going to do temporary ignition system right now. I'm going to worry about all the wiring later. And that'll allow me to put the hoop back on, go from front to back, put the hydraulics, or hook the ram back up for the hydraulics. And then pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run it temporary off a gas tank, and I'm going to belt start it off an L. And we'll just see what happens. See if it runs. If I can get it to run and stay running, I'll try and test the transmission best I can without it being in high or low. Like I said, I think I can push it in low or high by hand, I think. Enough so to work. So anyhow, I'm going to get after it, and there's really only a couple of bolts that hold the battery tray in, debating on which one I want to use. This one has all kinds of bolt holes and stuff in the bottom. Somebody added the governor down there later, I think. Where this one here has no bolts in the bottom that I see, and the tab's not broke off in the back. So, probably put it on there, and I'll double check and make sure that coil works, and go from there. I'll bring you guys back. Alright? Alright. Alright boys, I'm about set up to try and belt start this thing, but before I actually try and start it, I'm going to take a little time and explain this before I do it, because you're not going to be able to hear me with the Navy L running. That's probably what I'll belt start with. But short version of a long story, I have the spark plug out. I'm going to turn it over until I see oil coming up through this oil passage. Then once that happens, I'm going to put the valve cover back on it. Then I'll put the spark plug in it. And then pretty much I'm going to hook the spark system up and give her a little fuel and go for broke and just see what she'll do. What I've decided I'm going to do for right now is I'm going to just attempt to fill the carburetor bowl. I'm going to put a piece of hose on there with a gear oil jug and we'll just do it that way, because I really don't want to run it for long. I just want to hear it run. You know, short version of a long story. And from there, once I know it runs, I can start working on all the details. Another buddy of mine told me to pull an axle housing off and double check the diff bolts in these, because this was the early years and they were not safety wired, the diff bolts. So I'm like, okay, that's good to know. But for right now, I just want to hear it run, and then I'll go from there. See what happens. So I did get the hydraulics hooked back up. I got the hoop around there. I was working on adding a brace, because the old style tractors used a brace from here across to here. Because I have the second one off of this tractor, but I don't know, I kind of abandoned that idea because the reason they quit doing that is it would pull the studs out of the block. So I actually decided against that for the time being. I might do it later, who knows, but for right now, no. So anyhow, now that I've prepped you guys on the startup here, I'm going to go inside and get a little bit of something to drink, and then I'll be back out and we'll get this going. And if I get it to sit here and run for a little bit, I might try and drive it back and forth. It's all I can really do, and just kind of hope my alligator clips don't fall off. What are you going to do? It's just afro engineered for inside the shop, so we'll see what happens. Alright boys, here's the potential startup setup I got going on here. Now I think it's going to burn this belt up pretty quick. I don't know if you guys can see the belt rubbing on the hitch down there, so I'm not going to get a lot of crank time out of this like I wanted. At least I don't think so. I could probably find something to put down there, you know, just rub a little bit, but can't really go down much more because then I'll be on the main frame out here. Probably would be if it wasn't for that in the road. So, can you belt start a Westchester? Yes. Is it a good idea? Probably not. I would love to go off of the back pulley for the hydraulic pump, but I'm worried about it breaking since that's the one I JB welded together. I don't want to put a lot of extra strain on that. So, I guess pretty much I'm going to start the Navy L up here, and I'm going to put my fan in the window because if I remember right, it smokes a little bit at startup. And I'm just going to turn it over. I'm going to put the shop vacuum behind the flywheel, hopefully suck up some of the dust that comes up out of this thing, and hopefully it won't make it up into the motor, but who knows. I did it from this side because there's only one shift cable in the road right now. If the high-low cable was there, it would be in the road. So at that point, my only other option would be to put the belt pulley on the front that I have and try and start it that way, which it's still an option. So I don't know, just turn it over, see what happens. Like I said, I'm just going to put some fuel to it once I get it going and just hear it light off and run for a little bit maybe. So see what happens. valve's leaking, boys. Hold the old Navy L down. I don't know, boys. The intake valve seems like it's leaking pretty good. It's not hanging open up here. I'd like to hear it pop off once, but I think I'm going to have to pull that cylinder head back off and lap the valves at least. I may clean up this other cylinder head and see if it's any better, but I think that's all we're going to get for right now. But next time, guys, I kind of got to pull this thing all back apart then. Yay! Alright, boys, so the first thing I notice here is I don't have a lot of valve lash anymore. Actually, be honest, I have almost none. These were tight before. So, loosen that up a little bit. I think the exhaust valve was the one that was tight. It's moving. Check the lash with the intake valve open. The exhaust valve is tight. That tells me it beat some crud out of the exhaust valve seat. The intake valve was tight too. I went like a quarter turn out on it. That may help. I'm not going to say that's our whole problem. But I can clearly see the smoke coming out the intake right at top dead center. So see right there, the intake valve is tight. Now it's loose. And I can hear it leaking compression over here. Okay. I know it needs to be done there. So the cylinder head needs to come off. And the whole time I never got any oil up to the cylinder head. That's got me wondering if this line's plugged or what. I could take the line off and make sure it's pumping oil up to the line, because maybe this port's plugged here. I mean, as much crap as was in this thing. So that tells me it's got potential. I'm going to have to do a little bit more work. I'm going to have to fight for it. So yeah, I guess that kind of stuff's going to happen off camera. I was hoping to get this running this weekend, just to say I could, but you know, sometimes it don't happen, guys. I got spark, I got fuel, kind of got compression, but it's leaking. So that seems like my main problem at the moment. So yeah, I think I'm going over to a buddy of mine's tonight, so I'm probably not going to get back to this. Maybe tomorrow night, you know, maybe not. Maybe tomorrow, Sunday, who knows. But very much take that cylinder head back off. I need a valve spring compressor. That's my whole problem, because the exhaust valve was stuck in this head when I put it together, if you guys remember. But I could never get the I could never hold the spring and get the keepers out at the same time. I was trying while the valve was stuck, because that's like optimal, because the valve won't move no matter what you do. So alright boys, that would be Westchester 1, Steve none at the moment. So see what we can do there, I guess. Hopefully, I doubt it's just some crap in the seat. I'll probably have to grind the seat or something. I have that other cylinder head. I could pop it on here and just see if it's any better, but I still the only thing I really have to undo is the oil line and the hoop here to get the cylinder head off, which isn't that bad. I can put a jack under it for the little bit of work I need to do now. So, alright, rambling, that's enough. Later, guys. Alright boys, through some very creative persuasion with the bench vise and a socket, I was able to get the valve spring, which we call that the cup, and the retainers out. So I haven't pulled the valve out yet. See what's going on. So without further ado, you guys can see it with me. What's your guys' money? The valve? I'm going to say the valve. Valve bent. looks like there's just a high spot in the valve there. You know what, guys? We might be able to take some sandpaper and clean this up. I'm going to look at the seat a little better and make sure I don't see anything. Seat looks okay. So, I think if I had a valve grinder, I think I could have this cleaned up running tonight. It looks like there's just a spot there where it doesn't, she's not the sealing. Might be bent. I'll have to lay it on the bench and roll it and see what it looks like. It might be bent. Let's see, can I do it from above? Might be able to just chuck a drill up on that and just spin it around and let it polish itself in. I don't know, that's a theory. Alright, I'll put you guys back on charge and see what we get going with. Probably ought to just do the exhaust valve too. But getting these keepers back in might be a lot of fun. I don't know, we'll see. So I don't know if the camera's going to pick up on this. It might. I got it a whole lot better than it was before. I took the valve and put it in my battery drill, and then I held it with a file to about the same profile that was on it. Cleaned it up. I put some Sharpie marker on the valve and put it down in and checked it just to see, you know, if there's any spots it's not touching. And it's picking up in the pits, like right there, if you guys can see it. No, you guys can't. I just want to focus on the floor. I think you guys, right there, you guys can kind of see it. There's one spot. There's definitely some imperfections in this. There's one right there too. Camera's actually picking up on it better than my eye is. No, I can definitely see that looking at it. Right there, you can kind of see the spot. I don't know how the macro is focusing in, but I don't know. I wish I had a valve grinder, guys. If I had a valve grinder, I could have been done with this an hour ago. Put it back together, but I'm not really set up to do valves. Should be, but I'm not. I really don't want to take the second head apart, but that's an option too. And they are not L valves, by the way. I did look at that. So, yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm going to do some asking around tonight, see if anybody happens to have a valve grinder in their shop. A valve grinder isn't really that hard of a thing to have. I just don't have one. This valve looks like it was hit right there on the side. And this is the intake valve. The exhaust valve was stuck on this thing. The exhaust valve looks beautiful. Go figure that out. I did decide to pull it out too. Exhaust valve kind of has like a weird ridge to it, but it's got a nice pattern the whole way around. Yeah, nice pattern. I hope the camera is focusing on it, but can you guys see the shiny line the whole way around? It's got a real good pattern. So I could have left the exhaust valve alone, but well, was a halfway decent intake valve. I should probably bet. Where did it even go? I see it. I see it. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to leave it sit for tonight. Message some of my buddies and see if any of them happen to have a valve grinder sitting in their back pocket. And go from there. Oh, sugar's high. Great. Alright, I don't know if you guys can see or not, but second valve looks a whole lot better, I believe, than the first one. So let's see, where is the other valve? There it is. This valve here, I don't know, like half of the valve don't look too good. If I had a valve grinder and could grind it, you could grind it up, but I think we'll be okay. The other thing I was thinking about, I don't know where the little caps went off of these valves. I don't remember if they were on there when I took it apart or not. I didn't have the camera on. But I had this cylinder head back over here whenever I was unsticking the valves that night when my buddies were over. So I'm wondering, whenever I was screwing with the valves, I probably knocked them all on the floor. So they're probably here somewhere. I don't know. I got them off the other motor, so good enough. I'm only putting one together for right now, and being honest with you guys, I'm not going to run it enough to ever wear them out. That's why these are in here. Wear these instead of the mushroom in the end of the valve stems. So, alright, I'm going to get the valves put back in this thing. Hopefully I can get the keepers back in without losing them. And we'll go from there. Try and slap it back together, because the buddies that were over here last weekend, I'm going over there to their place this weekend. So, see what I can do. Maybe get this thing to run tonight. That'd be nice. Alright boys, I checked the timing and it was way off. Wasn't even close. I bet you it was firing, oop. Here, watch out. I think it's in the exhaust valve. It was probably firing about 3 inches before top dead center. And now, apologize, I got you guys. I don't know where the timing needs to be set at exactly, but if I have it firing at TDC, I'm using the bent push rod that I messed up as my marker. Now, why, when I didn't have the camera on, I had no problem with this getting stuck? You guys are here, it's getting stuck. Screwdriver would be better. Screwdriver. Where did that extension go I had on the bench? Let's see if this will. As long as I can't lose it down in there. Okay. So. Oh, it's binding up too. Come on. What the bleep? Really? Alright. Gonna be like it. Just take it out until it fires and then I'll. Right there. Pretty sure it's right at TDC. What the bleep? Why? Okay, I just heard the points drop back out. Right there. Real close to TDC. It's a hair before. Might retard it just a little bit because I don't want it kicking back since I'm belt starting it. So I'll do that. Put the carburetor on. Put the spark plug in. I guess I'm going to hook this oil line back up first and go go for broke, see what happens.